James was taken aback when he reviewed the camera footage from his newborn baby's bedroom. His dog, Toby, had been reluctant to leave the baby's room for days, and after installing the camera, James finally discovered the reason. However, it was not what he had anticipated. How would he break the news to his wife? This was no easy task. James knew he needed to tell Amelia, but how could he convey such alarming news? His child might be in danger, and that was a thought he dreaded. After much contemplation, James decided it would be best to call the doctor first. He explained what he had seen in the footage. The doctor initially appeared calm, but his demeanor shifted as he heard the full story. He instructed James to bring his baby boy, Ben, in immediately, stressing that they had no time to waste. Now, instead of simply informing Amelia, he had to tell her they needed to rush to the hospital. It felt like a life-or-death situation. James and Amelia hurried to the car with Ben and drove as quickly as they could, but it was rush hour. James's frustration mounted as the minutes ticked by. After what felt like an eternity, they finally arrived at the hospital. Upon entering, they dashed upstairs to the doctor's office. Employees attempted to stop them, but they pressed on. However, once they reached the office, they were met with disappointment. There was no doctor present. Where could he be? It was the same doctor who had urged James to come in urgently. James was incredulous, and his patience was wearing thin. As frustration boiled over, he began to yell at the staff. Even Amelia was taken aback by his outburst, and Ben cried in response to his father's anger. All James wanted was for his child to receive the care he desperately needed. Luckily, the nurses knew how to calm him down. They told James that he could wait in a separate room and that the doctor would be there in 5 minutes. However, he demanded to see a doctor immediately. When one of the patients in front of him heard what was going on, she made a polite gesture, allowing him to go ahead of her since she had nothing urgent. She felt that Ben needed help immediately and gave the doctor permission to assist him first. The doctor arrived quickly, and they could finally find out what was happening. He asked questions about the pregnancy and how everything had gone. While the questions seemed normal, the doctor looked a bit uneasy. After the questioning, he told James and Amelia that he needed to run some tests. James and Amelia were confused, but the doctor knew he had to do the tests right away. He called his assistant to help him, knowing the parents shouldn't have to wait long. Fortunately, the test results came back very quickly. When the doctor saw the results, he was surprised and a little angry. He went back to James and Amelia to share the news. He was amazed. This was not what he had expected. In the end, the doctor had good news for James, Amelia, and Ben. Everything seemed fine with their child. They were sent home, and James and Amelia felt relieved. However, James still found the situation strange. James didn't understand the behavior of his dog, Toby, and wanted to know what was going on. It had nothing to do with Ben, but why did Toby not want to leave the baby's room? Surely, it had to be a sign. So, he came up with a great idea. He still had a security camera from their old house that he had stored away. He installed the cameras right away to see if there was any suspicious behavior from his dog. He didn't want to tell Amelia anything, as he didn't want to worry her any more than he already had. The next morning, James wanted to check the footage immediately. He sneaked out of his bedroom into the living room with his laptop. This wasn't easy, as he had to watch a lot of footage from the night, but shortly after starting to watch, he saw something that caught his attention. He noticed some strange behavior from Toby, who was walking around in circles and sniffing across the room. What was going on? James continued to watch the footage and was surprised when he saw where the dog was heading. Toby walked up to a corner of the room and kept sitting there. It seemed like there was something beneath the surface. James walked into Ben's room and checked the corner, but he found something he didn't expect. There was a hatch hidden beneath the floor. James and Amelia had never noticed it while they were moving in. It was well hidden. Now, James was curious. Was there a big secret? Surely, there must be something hidden there. He hesitated to open the hatch. Should he call the police or let Amelia know first? Maybe it was a secret, but his curiosity took over, and he opened it. However, he did not expect to find what was inside. There was a black box in the hatch, and he was too scared to open it. Many questions arose in his mind. He wanted to know what was inside before he opened it. Maybe it was something he didn't want to see. James had no idea who could have put the black box there. He had lived in the house for 8 years and had never seen the hidden hatch. He decided to call his father-in-law, who had helped him build the baby room, to see if he had noticed it. James called his father-in-law, and after a while, he picked up. James explained about the hidden hatch and asked if he had seen it during the renovation. His father-in-law said he hadn't noticed anything. James thought the whole situation was very strange. Who had put the black box there? He was also curious about what was inside. Feeling desperate, he decided to call the police for help since he didn't know what to do. He felt uneasy about the black box and thought the police could handle it. When James called the police and explained everything, they seemed calm until he gave his address. Suddenly, the officer's tone changed and he said, "We will come right now. Stay where you are." James wondered what was happening. It only took a few minutes for the police to arrive, but instead of 1 or 2 cars, they came with 5. James was confused. Why were so many police officers coming to his house for this small issue? James was about to open the door when the police entered the house themselves by smashing the door down. James was furious about this because he was just about to open the door. What the heck is happening here? The police went straight into action, shouting that they needed to evacuate the house. Multiple officers immediately ran upstairs to the baby's room as if they knew exactly where it was. This entire situation just didn't make sense to James. Just then, James saw several police officers enter the baby's room. When he turned to look back at the door, 2 other police officers jumped on him and said, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you." Without any explanation, James was thrown into the police car, and they drove at high speed to the police station. James was baffled by everything that was happening. He tried to get answers from the police officers who were driving, but they didn't give him a glance. When James arrived at the police station, it seemed like everyone knew what was going on. They looked at James with great disgust, and he thought, "Why? I didn't do anything wrong. So why am I being treated like such a vicious criminal?" James was immediately put in the interrogation room with 2 other agents. He had never been in an interrogation room before, and it frightened him a little. The agents didn't seem like nice guys either. James thought carefully about what he could say because anything could be used against him, so he had to be cautious. He contemplated every word he wanted to say, but ultimately chose to be honest about everything that had happened. In the end, he was innocent, and he knew that, so he hoped that telling the truth would set him free. James recounted everything that had happened in great detail, wanting the officers to know that he was telling the truth. After speaking for almost 30 minutes, James hoped they would release him. In contrast, the police officers looked him straight in the eye and said, "You are lying, and you won't get away with this." James almost broke down in tears because he was baffled by everything happening to him. What had he done wrong? James collected himself and, knowing a bit about the legal system, demanded to see his lawyer. "That's my right," he yelled at the police officers. The officers looked at each other, and their reaction was bizarre. One officer said, "No, you are not going to speak to your lawyer. You have to confess. We know it's you." James was astounded by what they were saying. "What do I need to confess? I am innocent." He was frustrated because those officers were obstructing his civil rights. James knew they couldn't do things like this, as it would put their jobs at risk. He told the agents this, and eventually they relented, allowing him to call his lawyer. James was unsure which lawyer to call since he had never been in this situation before. He decided to reach out to a lawyer friend who quickly came to the police station. After James explained everything, his friend was shocked by the police's reaction and urged him to stay calm. Together, they returned to the interrogation room where his friend took charge. The police then showed James mug shots, and he recognized the former owner of his house, who turned out to be a wanted criminal. The black box he found contained information about the criminal's safe houses, leading to the man's arrest after 10 years on the run. Finally free, James returned home, where the police apologized for their mistake. Grateful to be reunited with his wife and baby, he felt relieved that everything had turned out well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your loved ones, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.